I'm from Nigeria. My actual full name is Funmi. It means God has given me joy. Yeah, and I moved here about 17 years ago, 2008. So yeah, 17 years. And excuse me. And I have been in real estate for the last 6 years. Prior to that, I was in the corporate world as a process engineer and a research scientist, but now I'm here.
Okay.
Yes, and I serve Houston. My phone number is 346-342-3494, and my name as it appears on here. That's how it shows on everything. Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn.
And talk to me about the whole research thing. Was that schooling? How did that come about?
Yeah, so yeah, I actually was supposed to be in med school, and I spent about a month in it, and I realized it wasn't for me. I don't know if you're familiar with Nigerians. They tend to push their kids towards, this careers that are very popular. You have to be a doctor, a
Yes.
lawyer, engineer, or something like that. So for me, they wanted me to be a doctor, and I thought it would be a good idea. But the first interaction I had with a dead body was of a woman that had a baby that died in a car accident. And that was the moment I realized there was no way. If I can't even help a dead body, how can I help someone that's alive? So I knew that wasn't it for me. So I wanted to be a food engineer at the time. So, but I had to go through my undergrad as a microbiologist, and then I came to the U.S. For my grad school. So yeah,
And
and I
what,
studied.
where
Sorry,
where'd you study?
I went to Oregon State University, far out in the
Beavers.
West.
Sure. Yeah.
Yes, and I studied food science and process engineering.
Now, again, before we move into real estate, food science, what is that?
So it is basically the science of food, what goes on in the background, whether in the process of like your average fruit. A lot of people don't understand that the process of you getting a fresh fruit here into the US requires some science, whether it's in the way it was planted. It could start from, the planting to the preservation all the way to getting it to the table. There's a whole science of that. And then on the manufacturing side, like things like your cereal, cornflakes, whatever it is, bars, you get them on the shelf. There's a science behind that. And a lot of people tend to think it's mostly chemicals, but no, sometimes you just use natural ingredients to get these things safely to you. But also understanding how different macro elements of food work together to deliver flavor. People tend to confuse it with food, culinary science.
Mhm.
It's part of it, but it's different. Culinary science is more in the flavor on the macro level. Food science could be micro, could be, macro as well.
Get out of here. Okay, I think it's just interesting. So many of us, our paths to doing what we do is so uniquely different because my path to the business school was also as a pre-med major, and I realized
Yeah,
very early on that no, that's just not, it wasn't me. I wasn't passionate
yeah.
about it, and I think I wasn't willing to put in the time and the energy. So, how has that experience and that education helped you with the real estate business?
Oh, it's helped me a lot. So for me, I before I my last job was with Kellogg's. I don't know if you know them.
Yes, yes.
So I was on the research, global research, so more like the future pipeline building, coming up with ideas for the next 5 years. And that entailed traveling to different parts of the world. Because I was on the global team, I had to go to different areas where Kellogg has presence to kind of work with what they have locally. And that actually required you understanding their culture and being respectful of their culture, because we want to do something that's local to them. You don't want to, because in the past you make food and you try and shove it down their throat. You tell them this is what you need to eat, but it's not working. So you want to use people's local grains to develop what they need by listening to them. I did a lot of ethnography. That's following people around, observing their day to day, how they went about their days, and how they interacted with their breakfast. Breakfast in Japan is different from breakfast in Nigeria or Germany or Mexico or the US. So you have to kind of understand that. So those skill sets, I had to learn people and their ways of life, and with respect too. And that I was able to transfer to real estate and being able to listen to people. What I found with a lot of people buying is they don't even tell you what they want to say. They say what they think you need to hear. So it's
Yes.
you having to sit back and actually observe them as they're saying it, or as they're talking about their family. You start picking out things and you draw out the key drivers of their desires from there, and you're able to deliver the results that they need.
I love
And
that.
also, having a technical background, math is my thing. I rejoice in math. So it's helped me to interact more with investors who basically, they don't care about, the emotional side. Give me the numbers. And a
Right.
lot of them are asking you right there as they're having conversation. So what's the ROI? When do you think I can, cash flow on this? And you can even do math on their payments. So I've had to mentally be able to deliver on that side. And so that tends to, draw their attention.
Well, again, math and I think Nigerians, they're synonymous with each other, I believe. So I can't even do some of that math in my head after even 36 years. So it is what it is. So now,
Yeah.
do you work with a lot of investors? And so, if so, great. But tell us, what's the breakdown of your business?
Yes, so for me, I started out moving to Houston and really not knowing anyone. So all the people I knew already had a realtor. They were already locked in, or a lot of them already bought houses. So coming in first, a lot of people felt like, I was having midlife crisis. How do you leave a job like that to come be in real estate? And I didn't really know anyone in real estate, believe it or not. I was just that crazy person who just jumps blindly
Yeah.
into, decision. I didn't do any research about real estate. I didn't even know how much they were making. I just felt like I needed a change. I was burnt out from traveling so much. I had little kids. So for me, I didn't want to just be staying at home. Um, and let me backtrack a little. While I was traveling, doing all this work, I would see my colleagues, vacation off on an island, and they would say, "Oh, come join me in my vacation home." In my mind, I'm thinking, we're making the same money, or at least I thought, like, how are you able to afford this, vacation homes or buy this, fancy houses? And a lot of them would say, "Oh, I just reinvest in real estate," because all I knew at that time was stocks. Everything I had was in stocks. So then, when President Trump became president, he would tweet something about some company he didn't like, and their stocks would just dip. And one of those, I think, was Kraft. He was having issues with the CEO or something. I had my stocks in there, and it crashed. And I was like, this doesn't make sense. All my hard earned money just comes down, and it's at the mercy of somebody's whims and
Yes.
caprices. So
Yes.
I just didn't like that. So I started researching, there's got to be a better way to secure myself. And even if it wasn't President Trump, it would be some venture capitalist on Wall Street, trying to short a particular, stock. And I'm just like, this is not safe. I don't feel safe in this space. So then I started looking into real estate. So when I got tired of my job, it just felt like, okay, real estate, let me explore it before I can invest in it. I want to know. So then, coming in and not knowing anyone in Houston, or at least anyone giving me any chance, I had to first start with door knocking
Oh,
and open houses. Yes, I had
okay.
a very
Oh my goodness.
good, crazily good coach.
Okay.
She pushed me to do everything. She said, "You're never going to know what you like until you've explored them all." So I did door knocking. I would get threatened. Texas, they like their guns. So they'd be like, "If you don't get off my lot, I'll blow you." So I'll quickly go get to my car, cry about it. My coach is like, "Nope, go to the next door." And, there was someone, I got called N-word, and I
Yes.
sat in my car and I was like, "I can't do real estate." And she's like, "No, you will do it. That's one person. You don't even know them. It's
Yeah.
their issue. It's not yours." The next door, the lady was, after crying so much, my eyes were swollen. She was like, "Oh, do you need water? You look like you're tired." It was a completely different
Yes.
experience. And that's when I realized, I needed to keep going regardless.
Wow. Well, let's see if I
Oh,
can.
okay. Yeah. So that's when I realized, I could do whatever I wanted regardless of the response that I get. And so door knocking was my thing. Open houses. Open house was more of building credibility out there. That I'm not out here just trying to sling real estate because it's the next easiest thing. I'm
Right.
actually, intentional about this. So, and then from there, I started connecting with agents. So, the pillars of my business is mostly I built Sphere. Eventually in Houston, people started seeing what I did, but also agent to agent referral and past clients. Past clients is starting to be more of my thing now.
I love your story, and I'm so glad you just touched on your perseverance and having a good mentor or coach, which I want to get into because you probably don't see on the screen. There's a group of agents that are new to our company. I'm not sure if they're
Okay.
going to Ignite, and I think it's beneficial for them to hear your story. You've only done it for 6 years. And one, you had a good coach and you went out and you didn't, I mean, you had to try it all before you realized really what you were good at or what you really
Yeah.
enjoyed, right? Because I think it's important for newer agents to know that right now you're not at capacity at all. You need to throw, we used to say, throw a lot of spaghetti up against the wall to see what sticks. You need to do a lot of
Yeah.
different things, not just the common ones. And the common ones are your door knock, right? Which again, outside of my first 6 months in the business, I've never really done. But you have to call expireds or you have to do open houses. And I think there's 155 other things you can be doing to find
A lot.
what your lane is. And then you spoke
Yeah.
on the agent to agent referrals, and I know that's how we met. And I've been so impressed with, I think, just the respect that others from around the country have for you. And I thought that's why I wanted you on, right? And I'm
Thank you.
pretty aggressive and when I want you on, I want to have this conversation. And that's when we started. You were nervous, and I'm like, you and I are just having a conversation like we saw each other at mega camp or family reunion or
Yeah.
something, right? This is
Yeah.
easy. But again, I think for the newer agents and even the veteran agents that are on, I had lunch with a buddy, Richie, just the other last week, and we were talking about agent to agent referrals because a significant part of his business are agent to agent referrals. So don't miss that. Don't miss that opportunity, especially newer agents and all the veterans here. I think we all know that. But I think relationships, again, can take us places that money can. So you're a shining example of that.
Yes, and I would speak to that. The one thing is that I would tell people like look at agents beyond just a referral. They're humans
Amen.
with like actual life issues and problems and joys and celebrations and just be there. I mean, you might be like the 15th agent they know in that city. It might not necessarily amount to a referral, honestly, but I think just looking at them as humans. One of the ones that stood out to me most that I would never forget was an agent in New Jersey. I hadn't spoken to her in a while. I sent her a referral. It didn't go well. Somebody else ended up working that referral, but I kept in touch with her. And then that day I called her. She and I said, I was thinking about you. I hope you're okay. You've been on my heart. And she said, thank you for calling me. She said, I just lost my parents, my dad, and I've just felt I've had no desire to be alive. Like I've just been depressed and almost she's suicidal. And I had to encourage her that day, like, you want to carry on your dad's legacy. He would want you to be happy. You spent a lot of your days taking care of him, and now it's time to take care of yourself. You
Amen.
did your best, you were present, and for me, I didn't, she probably would never send me a referral ever, but that's another human being that needed to be reached out to. So for me, whenever I feel like I don't know what to do, I just call people, check on them. You don't have to get referral.
Amen.
Um, and I also feel like when you're meeting people's need, God has a way of just opening the doors to you. When you're touching people's lives, um, one of my biggest referral chain, I call it a chain because it was one person after the other. It came as a result of during COVID. Of course, I started like few months before COVID. So during COVID, I didn't know what to do. But interest rate was low. So I started calling people I already knew had houses. And I said, you need to refinance. They didn't understand the math. I'm a math person. So I helped them. Well, guess what? They sent me their cousin who was moving from New York. The cousin sent me her sister. Sister sent me a sister. The sister sent me her friend. And from there, I think I probably had like 10 transactions just from helping one refinance. So sometimes it doesn't have to, because I feel like we constantly only want to touch people who we feel could give us business.
Yes.
But you could actually just help somebody who might never give you any business but might remember you for how much you helped them. I During COVID also, there was this lady who her husband was a realtor. He passed away and she didn't know what to do with her house. And of course, once you submit like a death certificate, you get calls to sell your house. So somebody told her to reach out to me. I called her and I was like, don't sell your house. If you move out, you're going to go pay this much. Let's ask for forbearance so you can get yourself together. She didn't work at the time. I said, can you work in Walmart? She said, yes. Can you work at a restaurant? She said, yes. I said, yeah. Your mortgage right now is 1,400 or 1,500. I said, you pay the same going to rent. Stay in your house, get a few forbearance, and then you can go, find a job. I talked to her daughters. I said, now you got to help your mom. You have to find some kind of job, support the family, don't lose your house. She sent me 5 people after that. I didn't sell her house.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but she referred people to me. So sometimes I feel like we're constantly hung up on where the next business is, but just go out there and help people and find somebody who needs loving or help, but also take care of yourself.
Hey man, well, you've touched on so many important fact, just nuggets, right? just take care of people. Like what we know, and again, I won't get too political because most know my view. Right now, this is a turbulent time that we live in, and unfortunately, most have they've forgotten they're left, they're right, they're Republican, they're Democrat. That's just BS. They've
Yeah,
forgotten to be human. We should be humans first, right?
yeah.
And all that other stuff is way down on the list. And it's just unfortunate. We need to support each other. I mean, we're stronger together than we are apart. They don't understand that. And just
It's a
touching and being
distraction.
human. Yes. And I just had a conversation with Alan Johnson. And right now, I think we need to have selected attention as opposed to selective amnesia, right? Right now, we've got to
Yeah,
focus on you to be strong. So now you can take care of your friends, your family, your community. And there's something that you had in your bio, and I know that's something you live by is, I mean, you're just helping people win. And I love that about you because that doesn't always equate into selling a damn house, right? That's
yeah,
being healthy, that's being positive, right? It's moving, pushing that rock up the hill, so
yeah,
that we're 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 in a better position today than we were yesterday, and our
yeah.
families are, and we're building strength and legacy. I know that's what you're about.
Yeah, I think thank you for, sharing that. With respect to what's going on, I think the way I've managed it is in the grand scheme of things, in the grand scheme of life, these things don't matter. When you see someone on their deathbed, they're not going to tell you their political affiliation. They're not even going to tell you about how much money they made. They would think about memories they made with their loved ones. And I've been forced to actually start looking at life that way. I did it so much that I actually calculated how many weeks I have left in
Mm,
life if I lived to my desired age, which my desired age is 85, and I know that I'm 43 right now.
okay.
I've lived more than half my life, and I have about 2,250 some weeks left in life. I'm not going to waste that on stuff that I can't control. And it's actually impacted even the way I've worked in real estate. In the past, because it's Kellogg Williams, goals, 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 plan. What's your plan? What's this? What's that? But we are not even guaranteed tomorrow.
Amen.
You don't have tomorrow. But then, yes, it's good to have those plans, but I'm not hung up on them. I'm actually, for me, I've had to realign my priorities. Like, if I can spend time with my family, if these things are taken from me and my family, I'm not doing it. I've had to turn down listings. If you're not coming correct with your pricing, I'm not wasting my weekends doing your open house. Even, I mean, or if you're not talking to me respectfully or you're trying to
Amen.
treat me like crap, I disconnect because I need this few weeks of my life to be meaningful. I've lost a lot of people in the last 4 years. It's been insane. And you just see, I mean, I'm talking even last week, an uncle passed away.
Mm,
And it's just, you don't know how much time you have left with people. So why do I want to spend that time arguing about things that I can't even control? You don't want to waste your time on things like that. Yeah, some of those things are infuriating, they trigger you, but
yes.
you are in charge of your energy and your life. And at the end of the day, it's not so much about what I want to be remembered for, is what am I doing with what the time I have right now? Because I'm not guaranteed next week.
No.
I'm not guaranteed tomorrow. So why do I want to waste today fighting people online, arguing online? If you can't offer hope, just go be by yourself. If you
Amen.
can't offer peace and joy to people, then leave it alone. Go be angry by yourself. Don't make somebody else miserable. Don't make other people unhappy. You don't know if that person would be you'll be the last person they interact with
Yes.
before they take their own life. So it's just when we shift how we move around life, we do things differently.
You that is the perfect way for us to end this conversation, and it's being positive, and it's controlling your environment, and you're spending time around good people, not the bad people and the bad energy, because life is short. And I think I know for a fact I needed to hear that today, and I'm sure because we're going to church for a minute that there's somebody else who needed to hear that today, because that call that you made to the agent up in New Jersey could have very well been could have been me 10 years ago.
Yeah,
Because when I lost my son, I
yeah.
uh,
Sorry.
I went years with wanting to join him, and I thought 100 times about taking my own life. And so
Yeah,
I'm so fortunate that I'm surrounded. I see three of my best friends on this call, and they help me. So
yeah.
sorry for that. But I really
Thank you
appreciate you
for
sharing.
sharing. Thank
Thank
you for
you.
sharing that.
Sure.
Thank you. And I'm glad you're still here. I'm glad you're forging ahead.
Yes.
Thank you for being vulnerable. I didn't expect to be sharing, to be shedding tears, but that's impactful. Thank you for all you're doing in the
No.
community and for agents.
No.
And yeah, thank you for reminding me again how important that is
Amen.
to stay
Amen.
connected. Yeah.
I tell you what, I love you. I love you even more now. Oh, guys, let me just tell you this. If you didn't get something from the last 35 minutes, boy, that's a you problem, because there was so much good in this conversation. And I know that a number of folks have been blessed. And so thank you for your time and your energy today and your positivity,
Yeah.
and keep
Thank you.
impacting your community, because I know you're doing so much good out there. Guys, if you have a Houston area referral, boom, here's the call you need to make, because you already know how she's going to serve that client. It's going to be the highest of high. And sometimes it might not even be in closing a transaction, right? It might
Yeah.
be information that she share, right? It might just be loving
Yeah.
on that person, and they're going to need that. So anything else you got
Thank
for us
you.
as we leave?
I mean, nothing really. I mean, there's really nothing that I would say here regarding, business. I know people want to hear what's the next best thing, that people are doing. I don't think I'm that agent. I keep things simple. But
Yes.
I think if there's anything I would encourage people to do is just take it one day at a time. For me, it is, what do I have today, and how can I make the most of it? When you think about not being guaranteed tomorrow, you look at today differently and you do things a little bit differently. So just go be great and be a good person. Life is short. And I mean that life is short. You don't have the next hour. So what you have is now, and just, make the most of it.
I
I
love you.
can't give you tools. I mean, I wish I could share all the things I'm doing, but I'm sure you've heard those things a million times. It's just seize the day.
Seize the day. That's what's
Yeah.
important. And again, I think that'll outweigh all the real estate tools that you can go out there and implement and do. Just seize the day, and you know what? Just just support and love on people, and with no expectation back,
Yep.
with
Yeah.
none back, because you know what?
Yeah.
Um, it'll come back. It'll come back.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not
Yeah.
necessarily monetarily, but it'll come back
Yeah.
to you, and it'll make your heart
Can I
smile.
say something to that? Yeah, thank you for
Absolutely.
saying that. And I believe I'm a Christian, and I
Yeah.
believe everything you put out there is coming back to you.
Yes.
Every seed you're sowing, you may not reap it in your lifetime, your children's children mind. And speaking of legacy, part
Yes.
of legacy, we talk about just wealth, but it's also the kindness and energy you're putting out there, the seeds you're sowing. You may not reap it, your grandchildren might. There's some goods that come to me in my life that I know I didn't work for. I know somebody in my past did something and I'm reaping that blessing. So you put something out there as a legacy. It doesn't have to be money.